Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Khadija. Today I wanted to share a book recommendation. In my previous videos I have mentioned that, over the past year I've come across different books, different quotes, different resources, different ideas that I found helpful in cultivating a more positive attitude. So I plan on making book recommendations because they were super helpful for me, and I like to read. And if you like to read, then keep on watching because I'll be sharing one of those book recommendations with you today. So one of the books that I've read in the past little while is called Big Magic. Now this is not my copy. I did get this from the library. I do think I'll be purchasing it though, because it is one of those self-help books that you just want to read every so often, just to familiarize yourself once again, or remind yourself once again with the message that it's trying to get across. So Big Magic, what is the book about? First of all, it is by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's better known for her work with Eat, Pray, Love. So if you've read that and you've liked her writing, then this is going to be very enjoyable for you as well. First of all, I want to say that it's a really, really easy read. It almost feels like she's just sitting there kind of having a chat with you. So she's also done a TED Talk on the same topic, obviously more condensed. She does share some stories. I will link that in the description box as well. So this is her pitch to you, me, and anyone else who would listen, that we should just go for it, right? If you are someone who wants to create and pursue some sort of art, or any kind of passion of yours. Basically her point is that yes, it's really important that you create something, that whatever idea it is that has come to you, it is important and it should be shared. It has value and it's worth sharing and creating and kind of spending your time and your energy on to make this idea that you have in your mind come to life, whether that be writing, whether it be to create a sculpture, whether it be photography, whether it be whatever your passion is. Her point is that it's really important and it's really valuable, and that you create this. At the same time, she is saying that it's not that important, right? We place a lot of importance on what people will think of it, how it will be received, how many people are we helping with it, what kind of value is it adding. And her point is, yes, it's really important to create, but at the same time, it's not important how it ends up being received by other people, or how much value it actually is creating or not. Point is that you have this idea, and the fact that you got this idea in the first place, whatever that might be, to write a short story, to write a poem, to make a painting, whatever that idea might be, it's important because you have the idea, and because there's fulfillment to be found in actually having that vision come to life. But once you are done creating, then it's out of your hands, and you should just let that go out into the world and be received however it may be. Point is that you have to enjoy the process. You create for the sake of creating, and it's important to create, but how much I enjoy or how much value it added to my life while I was creating something should not be determined by how much value you found in it, or how enjoyable you found it, how many people liked it, how it was received, etc. There's a whole lot of stories she shares in this book as well, which I found really helpful and really interesting and really inspiring as well. There's a lot of arguments as well that you as a creative person might be coming up with. Excuses, really. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be well liked. It's not the right time. It's not for me to do this. It's not for I don't have the right resources for it right now. Whatever that reason might, or I don't know what my passion is, so I'm not gonna do anything because I just don't know. And so because I don't know 100%, I'm just not gonna do anything, which obviously doesn't really help. It's not really a great place to start. Her point is, whatever is prompting you to be inspired, whatever it is that you have this excitement in you, this curiosity in you, to dive into, to explore, pursue that. Whether that be for 10 minutes a day, whether that be for your you might spend months on it, you might spend a week on it, however long that project might be, but just do it. Just get started, just create it, and it doesn't need to be perfect, because it's the process of creating and the enjoyment that you will and the enjoyment that you receive from that's important. And that's her emphasis, that it's important that you create, but what happens after you create your project or you make your vision come to life, that in itself is not important. Because she says that, you know, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and it was really well received, but there are other things that, you know, she has done which might not have been as well received in the beginning. Short stories that she'd written, articles she'd written that were not that well received, or did not make her that much money, or possibly did not make her any money, but she still wrote because she knew that that's what she wanted to do. There's a lot of different lessons and perspectives that this book offers that I really enjoyed. I was someone who thought that, you know, you have to have this passion for something, and if you don't have a passion for something creative, then it's not really your place to really pursue that necessarily. That you have to be, you know, if you are a writer, then you are a writer, and that you do that full time. You know, like taking things too seriously, putting a lot of pressure on our creativity. But the point that this book tries to get across is, yes, as artists, as creative people, we do tend to put that pressure on our creativity and on the content that we're creating, but that's not the point of it. The point is that it's there for you to have fun with, there for you to enjoy, really. And she compares creativity and creative living and ideas and you know, diving into that almost as your experience with the divine, and the way she's kind of made that argument is really beautiful, I find, and it's really inspiring. So I really enjoy this book. Like I said, this is from the library, but I do plan on purchasing this as well, because again, I would just like to have this in my library to be able to refer to whenever I'm kind of in a rut, or, you know, I'm having a creative block. I would really recommend this if you're thinking about kind of getting a self-help book as a creative person. If you want to feel inspired to go ahead and just kind of get started. It was an enjoyable read. There's stories, there's examples, and like I said, it's a really easy read as well. So that should hopefully encourage you to give this a go as well. Some of the things that she does go into is about people's creative process. Everyone has a different one, and so she does share some stories about how people kind of get started, how inspiration comes to them, how ideas come to them. She shares her own personal stories as well, which I always find really interesting, just because everyone has a different process and method to their madness. So found that really interesting in this book. Another thing that she does go into in this book, besides those stories of course, is just how to muster up the courage, the belief in yourself, and just the inspiration to get started, first of all. Now also, if you have gotten started, so you're already you know, creating, you're already, for example, a writer, you've already started to delve into your art, but you do find yourself, you know, kind of in a creative block sometimes. She does also go into how to get past that and how to keep going and working through that. I do find that this is not necessarily a more step-by-step. If that's what you're looking for in terms of clear out your desk and, you know, make this space for yourself or things like that, she doesn't really do that, but it's more so an ideology, a conversation, something for you to reflect upon, something for you to take away from in terms of, you know, ideas that will help you and inspire you, versus a how-to, if that makes sense. That's how I looked at it, was that it was really, it gave me something to think about, so that, you know, I can take those ideas and apply it to my own life and how I function. But basically her idea or her thesis on this is to say, just get started, and all the reasons that you should do it and all the reasons that you think are, you know, too serious or too overwhelming, she tries to argue against that it's not that serious, it's not that overwhelming, and that you should just have fun with it, really. So yeah, so this is not really a how-to, it is a self-help book, I would say, but it's more a conversation, something for us to reflect upon, something for us to take away from, and then just to think, okay, how am I looking at it? What's my attitude towards creating and my creativity? What kind of a relationship do I have or do I want with my creativity? One of the things that I do want to share from this book though is she makes a point to say that not everyone, for example, knows what they're passionate about, right? Some people obviously know that they're passionate about art, or they're passionate about science, or they're passionate about movies and culture and music or something or another, but they know what they're passionate about. Now, not everyone is lucky enough to know what their passion, just like something that really just consumes them is, right? So what do you do in a situation like that? And I really like how she offers this idea because we get so overwhelmed sometimes. Sometimes we see people who are very sure of what they wanted to do, and I have a lot of different, I have varied interests, for example, and so I don't have one thing that I've known since I was 10 that, you know, this is what I wanted to do. I have a lot of different interests and I want to do a lot of different things. So there's not just one singular thing that I can put my finger on and say, that is my passion. And so I really like this idea that she offers, that don't follow your passion because you might not even know what your passion is, but do follow your curiosity. So in the moment, if you are curious about movies from the 60s and you want to just kind of know everything that there is to know about it, pursue that. And if you pursue your curiosity, so let's say it is movies from the 60s that you're curious about and you think, hey, let me find out more about how movies were created, or what kind of themes were explored, or what fashion looked like back in the day in the movies at that point, what kind of stories were being told at that point. Whatever that curiosity might mean for you, pursue that, she says. That is creativity trying to nudge you along and trying to basically show you signs of where your passion lies. And I like that idea because it's not as much pressure, it's not as like it's not as overwhelming, it's not as, you know, because with passion, if you think about what am I passionate about, it gives a lot of importance to that one thing, and you might not be super passionate about something just yet, or you might not know what you're passionate about, and it's just a lot of pressure, and it's like it's a really weighted word, right? Especially for someone like me who does have a lot of, like I said, varied interests, and I don't have just one particular thing that I really love to do every single day, but I'm interested in music, I'm also interested in reading, I'm interested in writing, I'm interested in exploring, I'm interested in nature. There's so many different things. So where do I go? Where do I take that, right? Her idea is, don't think about your passion because you might not know it and not everyone needs to know it, but there must be something that you're curious about. And she gives her own story about where her curiosity in gardening led her to writing an entire book and doing some research in gardening, and her interest basically allowed her to expand her knowledge on that, and then she ended up writing a book on it. So she didn't know that that's where she was going to end up. Sometimes you think, you know, this person who, you know, wrote this movie or wrote that song or you know, composed that music, it's just so gifted and so talented, and they always knew, of course, that they were going to go into that field, and so that's why they're so, you know, that's why they were able to create this amazing thing out of, you know, what they're passionate about. But that's not necessarily the case, and her point is that you won't ever know your passion unless you start with the baby steps, which is basically curiosity. And like I said, that's an easier way for anyone, because we're all curious about something or another. So it's an easier way for us to all ease into this this path of creative living and just kind of creating something or another, whatever that might be. It might not need to be, you know, a book that gets published. It might not be music that gets, you know, played on the radio, but it's something that you have for yourself, just to escape your routine maybe, or for you to feel fulfilled in your heart, to say, wow, I made that, I did that, I had this idea, and look, I brought it to life. It doesn't matter how much time you spent on it, because it's the journey of it that she says you should enjoy, and it's the process that she says that is supposed to be what fulfills you, not necessarily the end product, because the end product is essentially irrelevant. That's her idea, that you should pursue it just because you want to do it, not because the end product is going to be this like glorious thing that you've created. No, it's just that you are satisfying this creative craving that you have within you. It's simple. It's just, what do you want to do? And if you find the answer to that, do it. And if you don't know the answer to that, that's fine too. Just follow your curiosity and see where that leads you. And that's also pretty cool, like where that will lead you. This is more so just ideas for us to think about, reflect upon, take away from, and just think about what kind of a relationship do you want to have with your creativity, and how you want to handle that part of your personality, of yourself. Her point, I think, is just to really encourage everyone to be more creative and to really go for it and pursue those creative goals, or you know, bring that vision that you have to life. So if you do give this a go, please do let me know. Let me know what you thought about it. If you have any similar books that you've read and found positive and helpful, then again, let me know that as well, because I would love to give them a go. If you did read this and you know, have thoughts on it, positive or negative, please do share, because I would love to take your perspective and what you took away from this. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, I hope you take care of yourself and this world. Take care. Bye.